As I've had requested, we're going to do the drop induction. We're going to do it slightly differently, because rather than just doing it, I'm going to explain what it is that we're doing for the benefit of my students. So, Steve, thank you very much for coming and volunteering. Could you stand there looking over into that corner? Okay, and you can just pick a spot. Just stand comfortably for a moment and just stay out of hypnosis for a moment, okay? Stay out of hypnosis, and I'm just going to kind of detect how long you are. Okay. Well, we're going to be, where are you going to be? Okay. Steve, what do you think? Okay, feel about that long? No, just stay out of hypnosis. For your benefit, okay? What we're already beginning to do is this notion of stay out of hypnosis. What does that do? That presupposes that shortly you're going to be going into hypnosis. Now, by putting a cushion down as well, Steve, I hope, now you see, because Steve's listening to the explanation, you might be inclined to think, oh, hang on, I'm definitely not going to be doing this now because I'm consciously thinking about it. But the fact that he's now consciously thinking about it and analysing, possibly even intellectualising about it, you know, I mean, this is Steve, and the chances are that now, as a result of that, he's going to be taking himself into a deeper state of trance. That's probably right, isn't it, Steve? Yeah, thank you. So we've measured out, again, by putting a cushion down, we're presupposing that's where he's going. That's the place where he's going. Now then, like I said, just stay there for a moment. The simple process here is going to be that the leg is where you want to take most of the weight, okay? Now then, we generally have stronger legs than we do arms. So you don't want to be kind of holding them like that, because that can look slightly less gainly than perhaps it's going to be. And I'm going to, when Steve goes into hypnosis in a short while, I'm going to put my leg there, he's going to fall back. As he does so, I'm going to wrap my leg around and pop him down like that. I wish my jeans weren't quite so tight. If we hear a ripping noise, and it's probably the bum crack of my trousers. Okay. Now, Steve, you can have it so that your hands are just by the sides of you there. Great. Now, Steve's great at going into hypnosis. Any of you that have worked with him know. You ask him to close his eyes, and he kind of goes off on one. So it's a nice choice for me to have Steve around to be able to do that. Okay, now, just wait for a moment. Just put your feet together so that your ankles are together, Steve. That's it, thank you. Now then, as we know from our postural sway susceptibility tests, when somebody's feet are together, in a moment I'm going to ask him to close his eyes. It becomes very natural to develop a kind of postural sway. That could be a little bit like losing balance, but it's also a nice enhancing process as far as the hypnosis is concerned, okay? And so I'm going to do that part now, and then I'll explain it and unpack it a little bit afterwards, okay? Steve, only allow your eyes to close when you're ready to go into hypnosis, okay? And then I'm going to talk to you a little bit before you then drop back into my arms and into this process, okay? So you're going to remain stood for a while. And remember, we're falling backwards. I think I joked before about the fact that I was once doing this process, doing this technique, getting nice and ready, and I said, okay, whenever you're ready, away you go, and we just got to, as they had fallen in the opposite direction, plaster on nose time. Okay. So, in your own time, see, only when you are ready to enter into hypnosis, allow your eyes to close, and before you allow yourself to go into a deep state of hypnosis, while your mind is just preparing you to go, and that's it, good. Notice that light fluttery sensation in your eyelids right now. From time to time, you're going to notice that little sway that you're getting. You can notice my hands just very lightly touching you here. And when you feel my hands touching your chest very lightly, then just imagine my hand on your back becomes almost like a magnet, comfortably drawing you backwards into that position. Notice how your body has this kind of inclination to stay rigid and solid. So getting ready now, in your own time, comfortably and gently, Just letting yourself go. Notice those feelings. That's it. And sleep now. Deeper and deeper to sleep now. Way down. Just surrender the entire weight of your arm and all the time that it takes for your arm to drift to the floor in a moment when I let go is all the time that it takes for you to go even deeper and deep down, way down. Good. Take a moment, just while I'm talking to the group. Every word that I'm saying to the group is taking you deeper and allows you to let your mind go to some other place. And of course, all that time you're fully protected from random thoughts, sounds, images. Good. Take a moment. Go deeper now, Steve. So, the process here has been such that we pretty much set everything up before the dropping process. Okay? But you noticed how his body stayed straight as he went down. Some circumstances, if you've not got the right rapport or the trust, what will tend to happen is they'll go up, like that, and will hold their feet there. So you want to make sure that you've got that. Start to suggest some body catalepsy. Then, of course, we've got this idea of a magnet on the back of their hand that's going to draw him gently back. And we've got this notion that he's just going to get a slight touch there. Because on the front, as soon as he gets that, then he goes. The reason we do that is because he needs the instructions as to when to do it. Because if you just leave it up to him, you might spend 20 minutes of him just rolling around. I mean, he'd be having a great time on his feet, trance, wobbling around, but we need to just nudge that process along. Okay, understood? Great. So now, Steve, just take a moment. Just allow your unconscious mind to imagine that as a result of this brief hypnotic experience in our real world terms, that your unconscious mind responds to these few minutes as if you just had a 9-hour massage, 5-hour siesta, really beautiful, delicious snooze. And then when this hypnotic session is at an end, you're feeling wonderfully refreshed, invigorated, raring to go. In appropriate terms, of course. So I'm counting from 1 to 5, just coming up and out. In 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Eyes open on 5, coming up and out. Thank you very much indeed, Steve. Thank you. Come and have a seat. Thanks very much for that, Steve. The entire time he was down on the floor, you notice he had a lot of eyelid fluttering, a lot of the pace of his breathing changed and so on. I would ordinarily get him to thank his unconscious mind, of course, bring him up and out, go and check how he is, which we'll go and do afterwards. Any questions on any of that?
Well, were you touching before? I couldn't see that
well,
when you were playing.
Sure. The question was I touching him a great deal before? Now, when I was talking to him about, you've been in hypnosis before, I was touching him in the same place. Okay, so every time we mention the subject of hypnosis, just give a little touch in the same place, so we're anchoring it. And then when we're ready to go, touch and fall, in you go. Okay? Great.